हाय एवरीबॉडी, नमस्ते। मेरा नाम वंशिका है और मैं मनोविज्ञान की पढ़ाई कर रही हूँ। इससे पहले वाला सेशन भी मैंने लिया था जिसका नाम था जीवनकारी संबंधी विकार, दैट इज लाइफस्टाइल डिसऑर्डर्स एंड
Vanshika, sorry, I'm very sorry to interrupt you.
yes.
Looking at the audience today, so English, please.
Okay
English,
ma'am, okay
huh?
ma'am,
Yeah.
okay,
I mean, again, if at the end it's needed to be in Hindi, we'll summarize. But today, I think English because it's all of us today.
okay ma'am, done.
Thank
So
you.
hi everybody, my name is Vanshika Agrawal, and I'm working or I'm studying psychology as my major. And previously I have took session on lifestyle disorders. Hopefully, most of you have applied some of the things in a daily lifestyle, and and hopefully I met your expectations. So in today's session, we will be learning or understanding about what are interpersonal relationships, how you can handle relationships, how you can handle conflicts, or some strategies, some strategies for following or for mindfulness or for having a good healthy relationship. So before starting the session, we will be understanding two rules that are: first, confidentiality. This is a safe place where you can talk about anything, anything and everything with us. And secondly, this is a safe place where you can open up completely. Okay, so before we begin with the activity, let's know, anybody can unmute themselves and let me know and let us all know ki how they like the previous session, that is lifestyle disorders, and did they applied anything in their lifestyle. Anybody can unmute themselves and let me know.
Vanshika, was there a recording for it? Because I missed the last session. I would love to listen to that session.
I'll share it with you.
Please do. Definitely, yeah?
Thank you so much. I'll share it with you.
All right, thank you.
I too missed it. Sorry, so I too missed it.
Okay.
It's all Rashid. Yeah.
I'll share it with everybody once again.
Okay, yeah. I'm sure it might be on our group, but yeah, thanks. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. So if anybody wants to share something about the previous session, if anybody had seen that session. Okay, I guess most of you are new to this session and haven't seen the previous session. So okay, let's begin with today's session only. So let's begin with an activity where I'll tell you a scenario, a situation where you have to feel like you are in that situation and you have to give me the answer. Okay, most of time when we get in an argument or in a conflict, what we feel like, I need to go to a place where I'm all alone. I don't need to talk to anybody. I'm not in mood to talk to anybody. Okay, so you are being sent to a secluded island where you have no one with you. You have all the facilities over there, like everything, like you can spend a happy vacation over there, but you have nobody with you as a person. You have no social connection. You have your phone with you. So would you like to go over there and spend live there for like how many days? For how many days you can live there? Like anybody wants to share the experience ki, okay, I want to live there or I don't want to live there, things like that.
Ma'am, when I'm suffering, I like to wallow in myself, wallow in my misery, and that's my way out. I don't like meeting people or talking much. I really don't. But once my pain is over, then I'm back to normal. But at that particular time, I like to be lonely or separate myself from everything.
Exactly. Being alone is your type to, get away from all the tensions and worries.
Not tensions, but outside noise. I like to be within myself, my way of coping.
Okay. So, thank you so much, Rani ma'am, for telling me your way of coping up with things. So, anybody else want to give any idea?
I
Urvashi ji?
I don't think I'll be able to cope on my own.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Thank you
do
so
like
much.
company around me, maybe the odd day or two, but not on a desert island on my own. But the fact I've got my phone, I'm connected with the other side of the world. So, or with my friends and family or whatever. So that's a bonus. That's the only thing that will keep me going if I was on my own.
Okay. So what we all feel, ki, okay, we need some time alone. We want to be at a place where we are all alone. We are not in mood to talk to anybody, not even with our friends. We don't want to time spent with them. We don't want to spend time with them, of course. So, but that emotion, those feelings are for a smaller duration of time. You can live for a small time all alone, but at some point of time or at any point of time you need a person with whom you can share your emotions, your feelings. You can share your laugh, your laughter, your cry. We need that one person in our lives. So okay, so how many days, if I ask Rani ma'am, like for how many days can you live there, a secluded place?
Right, ma'am, until my pain is over, and then I get out of it quickly. It's not, I express my pain in words, and
Okay.
that's the first relief I get. And after that, after staying in seclusion, then I do get back to normal. I'm a very social person, but when I'm suffering, I need to be on the but I'm
Okay.
social, so I'm all right after that.
That is a really good thing. You are social then. You will cope up with
Ma'am,
it.
it happens with all of us that whenever we feel overwhelmed, the chaos that's happening in the outside world, we sometimes feel that, we have to cut ties with whatever is happening in our immediate surrounding. So if given a chance, if I personally talk about me, this feeling sometimes come to me also. I think a lot of us experience that I want to get away from the daily hassles um, that are happening. But like you're asking for how long the duration, even if I'm given all facilities which which I can use to survive very comfortably in a secluded island, I think after one point of time I would want to come back to my routine. I would want to come back to my people. It happens like when we go for a vacation, we enjoy initially. After some time we start missing our home, we start missing our family. No matter how chaotic our family home environment may be, but we would all want to come back. So not for a very long time, I don't think so any of us can survive for a very long time all alone, no matter what facilities we are given. So that's what I feel.
Yeah, so the thing is it's the same, like for some period of time we like to being alone, like, but at some point of time, after some time we need somebody with whom we can feel, with whom we can share our emotions. So that like we can conclude it in this way, like we need somebody in our lives all in
Yes,
one.
it's not possible for us to survive all alone. It's a very big myth that exists today. People believe that we can survive independently. We are self-sufficient. But it's important to prick this myth, break this myth. The reality is that we are all interdependent on each other. And no matter how confident we feel that we do not need anybody, we actually need people for surviving, for helping us meet our basic secondary and tertiary needs. Directly or indirectly, we are all connected.
Yeah, exactly. So thank you, Suyesha ma'am, for elaborating it more. Thank you so much for that. So now let's begin with our topic, our main topic, that is navigating interpersonal relationship. In which direction should our relationship be going? Now, relationship is not just our family, husband, wife, or dada, dadi, or like relationship between father, daughter, mother, father. So relationship is also in organization, workplace, community, culture, peer groups, our friends. Relationship is everywhere. It is the places where we are connected with other people. The relationship come to this place, comes to act. Okay, so now I'll ask anybody, or anybody can unmute themselves and let me know what are their views on having a healthy relationship, or how a relationship should work, or how we should have a healthy relationship, either good or like you can give your views how you like your relationship.
Ma'am, I don't like my boundaries crossed. And there are not many times that they are crossed, but when they are, I just put my foot down. Whether it's with the family or friends, there's a boundary I like to maintain. But I mean, I've got good relationships, I've got good friends and all. But there are times when you want to be on your own and then get back, integrate after that. But yeah, I don't know if it answers your question.
Yeah, of course, you answered my question. So that we everybody, as every individual, as me as an individual, I feel differently about having a relationship, what I'm expecting in a relationship, or how I would be feeling in a relationship. You as an individual have different criteria, different perspective, how your relationship should work. Okay, so we have our different perspectives for our own relationships. Anybody else?
I feel for me, how I define a healthy relationship is when both the parties involved feel safe at the psychological level. For me, that's very important. Apart from psychological safety, transparency and openness in how we communicate our feelings and how our opinions are respected. That's very important for me. Open communication, a feeling of trust, feeling safe in a relationship. I'm not talking about physical safety per se, but rather psychological safety is also very important. So how am I made to feel in that setup? That's important. And it has to be a two-way thing.
True. So communication is really, really important in a relationship. If in a relationship you are not communicating, it will lead to conflicts. And that is so true. So
Yeah, to me,
Yeah.
loyalty. I think it doesn't matter whether you're close friends or whatever, whoever you've spoken to. There's got to be loyalty and confidentiality with your, we shouldn't have to keep saying, oh, please don't tell this to anybody. So that should be about respect, loyalty, and honesty.
Yeah, so that is true. That is what we are saying. We all as an individual have different things what we want in a relationship. Someone respect, loyalty. These things are so common on which every relationship should be standing. These are some of the basic needs, bare minimum needs, which every relationship needs. So, as we have discussed different point of view, different viewpoints from Rani ma'am, Urvashi ma'am, and Suyesha ma'am. So, why relationship is important? Relationship is important as when as per se, when two individuals are connected, that is what meant to be a relationship. Once we get to know who we are able to understand the other person as well, what they are feeling. We get to know what the other person is feeling. Okay, so relationship has different needs. Okay, so physical need, mental, emotional, and psychological needs. Physical need, as per se, when a child is being separated from her mother, that physical pain that the child faces, or that mother faces as well, we can't imagine that. That is what physical need is. Mental need. If a person is isolated to a different place, he's not able to open up. If he's even trying, he won't be able to, as he is being isolated to a place where he is unable to open up. Emotional needs. The needs of feeling of belongingness, where you belong to someone. That feeling is important. Psychological needs. There's I'll explain you this. So there's a pyramid, there's a hierarchical model of Maslow, where we have these needs, which needs to be fulfilled. Now our behavior depends on these needs. And these needs have to be, these needs would be fulfilled with other person's presence. Okay, so let's begin with first, the most basic need, that is the physiological needs. Breathing, food, water. These are the basic needs. Food. We don't grow our own food, somebody else grow it, and then we consume it. So we are dependent on the other person. Other than physiological needs, all these are the psychological needs. Then comes safety, the feeling of being safe. When I'm living with my parents, I'm feeling safe. That I have my parents, I have my own home, my own house. Then comes the feeling, the love and belongingness needs. Our friends and families are important. These are the places where we feel like, okay, we belong somewhere. There is someone for whom we are living. Our existence is important for those people. Esteem needs. When two individuals are in a conflict, both of them have their ego. Ki, no, I'm right or I'm right. Both of them will show their point of view. What is the conclusion of that? That is the conclusion is conflict. No one is understanding the other person. So the feeling of esteem is important. The need of esteem is important. Self-actualization, of course. If all these needs are fulfilled, we are at the top of the pyramid of being a whole individual. All our needs are fulfilled. So these are some of the needs which are important. Yeah. Yes,
Okay.
Suyesha.
I will. I'll try to summarize this for everybody. We all function for gratification of these needs. All of these needs that Vanshika just explained, physiological or biological needs or safety needs, love and belongingness needs, our self-esteem needs, even our self-actualization needs, they guide and channelize our behaviors. So whatever we are doing today, all our big, small, important, unimportant behaviors, the way we function as an individual today, they're because of these needs. We are working to fulfill or gratify each of these needs. Now, from the very basic level, if we try to understand how we gratify our physiological needs, of course, are related to our survival. If these needs are met, we'll be able to survive. It's very basic to our survival. But again, when you talk about these needs, like Vanshika very rightly quoted an example mentioning that we don't grow our own food. Somebody else would grow our food. Somebody will sell that food product. Somebody will cook it for us, and then we consume it. So even when it comes to gratification of some of our basic needs, we are dependent on some other parties, some other people. Coming to the psychological needs cannot be met if we don't have close, supportive relationships in our life. Why is it important to feel safe? Who makes us feel safe? How do we feel safe?
Yeah.
Why is it important for us to experience the love, the affection, the affiliation? Why is it important for us? Why does a child need his or her parents or caregivers? Why do we need friends? Why do we need to have a social circle? Why do we crave for this need to belong to a group, to affiliate to a group? It's very basic. It's innate for all human beings, all organisms. And this is not only applicable to humans, but even animals. Why do animals move in herds? Why do we need the presence of other people? They make us feel safe. So, all of these needs, if you talk about somebody's level of confidence or their self-esteem or how worthy they feel or how valued and respected we feel in the society, the feedback that we get from other people, we understand and we self-perceive ourselves accordingly. So our self-perception, our self-concept, our self-values, they are all determined by other people. The feedback, solicited or unsolicited, both ways. When we get that, it helps us in building our esteem. If I feel confident today, it's because I've been made to feel confident since childhood. A child who's been criticized since the very beginning may come up as an individual with low confidence or low self-esteem. So my self-worth actually depends on what feedback am I getting from other people. So to operate at a healthy level, to maintain homeostasis, it's important that we are able to work towards all of these needs, gratification of all of these needs. And most of these needs that we see in the pyramid, they are somewhere or directly or indirectly, it will have the influence of other people around us. So our social milieu, our social environment is of utmost importance. Without other people, it's difficult for us to gratify most of these needs. So to become a self-actualized person, we know we move in this hierarchy from the lowest level to the topmost level, which is self-actualization. So without the support of other people, without having a supportive community, we will not be able to move towards self-actualization. And that is the ultimate goal, why we are all working. Whatever we are doing, it's because we want to become a self-actualized person. So that cannot be achieved if the lower level needs are not met satisfactorily. So it's important that we have healthy connections and relationships with other people, and they will help us channelize our energies in the right direction. So we are also a part of the social milieu of other people. So it's a give and take. It's like a barter system that's happening. I hope we are all on the same page. If we have any questions, or if somebody wants to share their ideas on it, you're most welcome. Yes, Rani, ma'am.
Ma'am, I beg to differ that I need other people's validation to validate myself. I really, really do not believe in that. I am confident and I know what I am. I can also see what people are for who they are, honestly.
Yes.
So if there is a criticism directed, I know which of it to take.
Yes.
And then,
Yes.
choose. But I don't need any outside validation. I mean, I might need it, but my self-esteem will not stand on it because I really know myself.
Yes. Yes, ma'am. I get your point, and I totally agree with what you're saying. It's because we've experienced a lot. We are at a certain point in our lives wherein we know where to use filters. For a very young child, just when his values and beliefs, his self-concept is developing, he would totally rely on what's being said to him. At this point of time, I know I have to use my filters. I will check whatever solicited or unsolicited feedback that's coming to me. I'll try to verify it once. I'll decide it, I'll use my discretion. But for a very young child, when he's still, trying to achieve his developmental milestones, cognitive, psychological, social, and emotional, he will not have those strategies. He would not be able to use his discretion, what to, take it personally and what is it that he should be rejecting. So that filter that we use, it is with us because we've experienced a lot and we have reached that level of, reasoning at the cognitive level.
Absolutely right. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Right. Okay, ma'am.
Thank you. Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Suyesha ma'am, for elaborating it so nicely and for concluding it so nicely. So, as I had decided to share a clip of a movie that is obviously Hindi. So, if everybody is comfortable, I would like to share it and make you see that clip.
There's a small video clip that we wish to share and show it to everybody. And we want you to observe the verbal and the non-verbal aspects that you see in the movie. In the small clip for a few seconds, we'll show it.
Yeah.
Please observe and we'll come back and discuss our observations and how important are these. Yes, Vanshika, I think you can.
यूहान अवस्थी का छोटा भाई मिस्टर अवस्थी।
यस,
वैसे भी थर्ड स्टैंडर्ड में आपके बेटे का ये दूसरा साल, अगर ऐसे ही चलता रहा तो आई एम सॉरी,
Vanshika, the volume, please unmute.
Yes, ma'am.
ठीक है, मेरा बेटा नॉर्मल।
Yes, yes. Don't unmute your device, please.
Yes.
No sound, ma'am.
सब छोड़
Is it audible or you're having problem in
We
having?
can't hear the audio, Vanshika. Audio. I think जैसे ही आप mute कर रहे हो ना अपना device, video sound is going off. So don't unmute your device.
Okay, okay.
Yeah? You can start the video again once.
सब छोड़ सुबह शाम ईशान ईशान ईशान।
No, Maya, it's not your fault. ये ऐसे नहीं सकते। ओके, मैं कल सुबह आ जाता हूँ। Thanks a lot, Suresh. Thank you very much. Good night. Good night. Done. अरे सुरेश कपाड़िया के दादा स्कूल के फाउंडर ट्रस्टी, मैं कल ही एडमिशन के फीस वगैरह तो भर दूँ। डन, बकवास बंद करो, खाना खा तो अपना जाऊंगा। अरे आदत डालनी होगी इसको। और तुमने प्रिंसिपल की बात नहीं सुनी, वो तो इसे अगले साल स्कूल में रहने नहीं देंगे, दोबारा फेल करके निकाल देंगे। फिर कहाँ जाएंगे हम लोग? कैसे भूल रहा है? हम कभी रिग्रेट नहीं करेंगे। हम बोर्डिंग स्कूल में ना ठोक पीट के सीधा कर देंगे। इसका यकीन करो माया, बाप हूं मैं इसका। इस हमारे बजट के बाहर है, लेकिन कर लेंगे हम लोग। वाली बात हो जाएगी।
So from this video, what you got to know, like some of the points which we discussed, that is physical need, mental need, emotional need, and psychological needs. The way Ishan was being separated from her mother, the way he got isolated in that boarding school was not good. Ishan's behavior changed because he got isolated. His behavior changed because he got separated from his mother.
I think it was that thought. It was a dream that the child had. When the child was told that he will be sent to a boarding school because the school authorities had a complaint against his performance and his behavior. So the father decided that they'll have to send the child to a boarding school so that, he can improve academics and behaviorally also. So that one little thought of being separated from somebody who understands us, it's very distressing. The child had a nightmare that he's being separated from the mother. So, I will personally narrate a story here. A few days back, a group of monkeys visited our home. Monkeys keep coming now and then. So one little, baby monkey was left behind. The mother was injured, and the other monkeys carried the mother to somebody else's terrace, and this little one small monkey was somehow left out behind. It got separated from the group. The mother, because she was injured, she somehow could not carry the baby with her. I am telling you, the monkey kept crying for hours together. Nobody could go near that little monkey. The rest of the monkeys, the whole group had left. This one little monkey left behind, and by the time the rescuers could come and do something about it, that baby monkey also died. So when, it's not only applicable to humans, but also to animals, that the mere thought of being separated from, anybody who's close to us, it's very distressing. It can also be fatal at times, as in this case that I've just narrated. This is something that I actually witnessed myself. And that's not it. When this happened, somehow the mother came back after a few hours, and she saw, so she carried the dead baby. She carried the dead baby with herself. It's a very sad narration, I know, But this is something that I witnessed, and I thought it's very apt to share here when we're talking about how important interpersonal relationships are, and why is it important to navigate through these relationships. It's very easy for us to make friends, to establish a relationship with somebody, but the real problem is sustaining through that relationship. That is something that we have to focus on. Getting into a relationship, easy, we all have those skills, but for how long can we survive in that relationship, and what efforts do we put in to thrive and to sustain and keep that relationship going? That's important. So any relationship that we get into, we cannot say that it'll be a smooth sail, it'll be a cakewalk. We are all different individuals, we have different personalities, we've been brought up in different environments, and we have our own opinions and ideas. So it's very natural for us to get into conflicts. What is that one key that will help us sustain in relationships? Anybody? What is that one thing? It's like, there's
Non-judgmental.
one master key.
Being
One
non-
master key.
being
Okay.
non-
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
non-judgmental
absolutely. Yes. Being non-judgmental.
and
Yes.
respect each other.
Yes. And ma'am, how do we tell the other person that we are not being judgmental, and that we respect somebody else's opinion, we respect somebody else's boundaries? How do we do that? That cannot be done without having a healthy communication pattern in any group that we belong to. So that one master key that I'm talking about, it has to be effective communication. If we don't have communication in place, there is a very likely chance that we end up ruining the relationships that can be sustained. So now I request Vanshika to help us understand a few nuances related to good, effective communication.
Okay. So first of all, we'll understand what all the efforts we need to maintain a healthy interpersonal relationship. Firstly, active listening. Listening or active listening doesn't mean two individuals are sitting together and they're using their phones and they're not listening properly or they're not communicating. Or active listening can also be mean if I'm sharing something with Rani ma'am, essay, and she's busy, she's listening me, but she's busy doing her work. That is not active listening. You are listening me, but while doing your work. That is not active listening. Active listening.
Yes, I think very right. We often see that happening around us, that when we're talking to somebody, we do not get their full attention. Rather, it's divided attention. They are listening to us, but not with full attention. So like, if I'm talking to somebody, I would expect the other person to look at me. So we often see that, people, eating food together, sitting together, it's a family setup, anything like that at the dinner table, for example, but they're eating together, but they're not communicating as such. So do you think we are together like that?
Of course not.
No. So active listening entails that, our full attention is given to the person. For example, a mother is cooking and the child comes and the child is narrating whatever happened in school. Or a child is talking to his father, the father is reading a newspaper or browsing the internet on the phone or doing something else, and simultaneously also listening to what the child has to say. Or when in an organizational setup, if I'm talking to my boss and my boss is busy writing an email while listening to what I'm saying, I would not want to carry forward my communication, at least at that point of time, with any of these people. So active listening is important. We listen to people partially. Not only that, I've often observed as a psychologist, I like observing people and their behaviors. So, it has come to my notice that a lot of people, when they're communicating with somebody, they're only waiting for the other person to stop talking so that they can put forward their point of view. So that is not active listening. So in good communication, it's important to allocate more time to listening rather than talking. When we say communication, what comes to our mind is how are we speaking, the content of our message. So communication is not only speaking. I think listening is more important to make any communication important. It's also very important to communicate empathy to people, especially when you're talking about interpersonal relationships. Without empathy in relationships, we have good intentions for each other, but are we able to communicate that? So a lot of people, a lot of times, they experience some friction in how they relate to people. They know their intentions are not bad, but are you communicating your good intentions to the other person? That's important. Similarly, like the clip that Vanshika just showed, it was a dining table scene. The family was eating together. Do you think there was open communication, open dialogue? There was only one person, that's the father, who was speaking. The other three members were exchanging glances. And when the young child, this boy who was being sent to the boarding school, when he tried to rebel against the decision that was being made, he was made to, shut his mouth and keep quiet. So be it a child, be it an adult, be it a teenager or an older person, it's important that we give space to people, respectful space to people, so that they're able to express their opinions. And open dialogue does not really mean that, you force somebody to listen to you or to follow what you're saying or to agree with your opinions. Our intention should not be that. Our intention should be that everybody will get a chance to verbalize their opinions and ideas and express themselves. And it necessarily does not mean that we have to agree with each other. Usually when we talk and when we express something, we want the other person to agree to what we're saying, to abide by our decisions. In an open dialogue, that is not the point. It's freedom of expression. So that is something that we should practice, because we will also like if this freedom is being given to us, but we also have to give this freedom to other people who are connected to us. Why is it happening that today children have stopped sharing too much with parents? Why are young children more comfortable talking to their grandparents and not to their parents? I don't know, I see a lot of people here. Does that happen in your family setup? Are children at home more comfortable talking to grandparents compared to how much they share with their parents? Does that happen? Has anybody experienced that?
My kids and my grandkids are too busy with themselves to the conversation, frankly.
All right. Okay.
Not bad way, but this is how things are.
Okay. Anyone else? Why do we see parents, children more attached to their grandparents? They can go share anything and everything. They're more like friends, a very friendly relationship they share. But they hesitate and they become a little apprehensive when it comes to sharing something with their parents. This apprehension is there. Why is it there? Rani ma'am had mentioned being non-judgmental. Parents become judgmental. They want, their children to abide by what they believe, what their values and beliefs are. Grandparents are a little open. They have a different way of, they'll listen to you, and they have a different way of inducing change, either in values or behaviors, or what you believe in. So there is this, safe space that the grandparents give. Parents react very quickly. How is it that you think like that? Why did you do that? Why did you say this? These are instant impulsive reactions that we give. So it's very important to understand that, before impulsively reacting or giving your opinions or straight away rejecting somebody else's point of view, we have to take a pause and then you respond. So there's a difference between reaction and giving a response. Please take a pause before you comment on somebody's expression of an idea or a thought or a decision for that matter.
Hello, am I
Yes.
audible?
Yes.
Ma'am, everything is good, but I have not found answer to my question. Actually, I think there is a network problem. So,
Okay.
can I ask
I did
again?
not get you. I did not get your question. Yeah, please ask your question. I'll be happy to take that.
Actually, ma'am, what should we do when somebody always says pinching words to us? Because we can't control ourselves to. I think you're understanding. The
Okay, if
pinching
somebody,
word.
all right, please correct me if I've got your question right. Are you asking that what should we do when somebody is always critical?
Okay.
Somebody comes up
Yeah.
with criticism for us all the time. Is that what you mean?
I mean to say that pinching words.
Pinching words,
Like,
okay.
हाँ, like ऐसा जो हमें बहुत बुरा लगे.
All right.
Then
Okay.
what should we do at that time?
Okay. So have you ever, tried communicating with this person openly that, whatever you're saying, I don't appreciate that. Have you ever done that? How do you react in this kind of a situation?
Always
Have
try
you
to
had an
ignore
open dialogue
them.
with the other person?
Always
आपकी
try
कभी
to
बात
ignore
हुई
that
है?
person. Actually, always try to ignore, but all the time we can't control.
Okay. All right. See, it's
हमेशा
very
ही कैसे नहीं हमेशा कैसे चुप रहे?
नहीं, चुप
ये तो
नहीं रहना है. हम वही बोल रहे, चुप नहीं रहना है, आपको कम्युनिकेट करना है, बट आप किस तरीके से कम्युनिकेट कर रहे हैं, आप जो भी बात बोल रहे हैं ना, वो मैसेज का कंटेंट क्या है और वो किस तरीके से आप सामने वाले को बता रहे हैं, वो इम्पोर्टेंट है. ये हम आगे वाले कुछ मिनट्स में मैं ये चीज पे भी बात करूंगी, एंड देन आई विल आस्क यू अगेन इफ आई हैव बीन एबल टू आंसर योर क्वेश्चन और नॉट. Does that work?
Actually, there is a network problem.
Okay.
So, yes. So.
Alright. See, it's very, हाँ, आप है ना एक बहुत रिस्पेक्टफुल तरीके में, यूजुअली जब हमें कोई क्रिटिसाइज करता है या पिंचिंग वर्ड्स बोलता है, या तो हम चुप हो जाते हैं या फिर हम डिफेंसिव होके और उसे वापस जवाब देने की कोशिश करते हैं. यही होता है यूजुअली. Yes or no? Alright, so in such a scenario, it's very important that you assertively and very positively but firmly communicate it to other people that this is something that you don't appreciate. So you are in a very positive tone telling the other person to stop there, instead of reacting instantly in anger that आपको ऐसा नहीं बोलना है, ये गलत है, आपने गलत बोला है, तो सामने वाला और the situation gets inflated because we do not really like being told that we are doing something wrong.
Yes.
So आप अपनी पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू को आप कैसा फील कर रहे हैं वो बताना जरूरी है। हमेशा अवॉइडिंग मोड में नहीं चले जाना चाहिए, बट आप किस तरीके से उसे वो चीज बोल रहे हैं वो इम्पोर्टेंट है। आप डिफेंसिव हो रहे हो, आप रिएक्ट कर रहे हो, या आप रिस्पॉन्ड कर रहे हो। आरती मैम, आई होप कुछ
Yes,
हद तक
yes.
मैं जवाब दे पाई। तो जैसे हम बोलते हैं ना कि तुमने ये गलत बोला, अगर मुझे कोई ये चीज बोलेगा तो मुझे अच्छा नहीं लगेगा कि मेरे को ऐसे कैसे कोई बोल रहा है कि मैंने गलत बोला। मैं गलत नहीं बोल रही हूँ, है ना। तो वो मेरा और एक्स्ट्रा रिएक्शन निकल के आएगा कि मैं गलत नहीं बोल रही हूँ, मैं आर्ग्यूमेंट करूंगी और ज्यादा। बट अगर मैं सिर्फ ये बोलती हूँ कि अगर आप इस बात को ऐसे नहीं और ऐसे करके बोलते तो मुझे ज्यादा अच्छा लगता, तो मैं सामने वाले को हर्ट भी नहीं कर रही हूँ और मैं अपना पॉइंट उसको कम्युनिकेट भी कर रही हूँ।
Yeah, right.
राइट, ओके।
Mhm.
Vanshika, you can take forward from here.
Okay. So, active listening, empathy, open dialogue, these are not only the things which we need to maintain a healthy interpersonal relationship, but we also need accountability. That is, we should take our own responsibility that, okay, we are admitting our own mistakes. A relationship also includes cooperation, compromise, trust, benefits of doubt. So compromising in a relationship to some extent has to be there. Compromising in a relationship has to be there to some extent. Cooperation, that is, you're asking the other person for help, but you're not expecting that the other person will help you. That is what cooperation is. Honesty is important. So these are some of the things which we need to have in a relationship to maintain a healthy relationship. Then comes communication. Now, communication has two ways: verbal and non-verbal. The language, the words we use while speaking to the other person, that is verbal communication. Non-verbal communication includes our body language, our eye contact, things other than the words and language, what we observe in a person. Okay, if I'm talking to the other person, if I'm sharing my emotions to the other person, this is where active listening can come. Okay, so if I'm sharing my emotions to the other person, and he is observing my words as well as my body language, emotions and feelings through my face, so that is what matters in a relationship. Okay, now what are the barriers in a relationship? As per se, false assumption. Sometimes we assume, okay, if the other person is saying to me, okay, Vanshika, you're looking good. Okay, what I assume is there's something wrong with him, or I'm not looking good. I should go to the washroom and check myself, either I'm looking good or not. So that is what we assume, things which are not true. And that what leads to the barrier in communication. Anger. We feel like the other person always has this anger in his head. So, okay, I'm not communicating with him or her. He'll just start, with the conflict. Okay, you are wrong, and he'll have this anger. So there comes the barrier. You know that you will feel like, okay, the other person always has this anger, so I will not share my feelings, my emotions with him. He'll come return on to me. Then come attitude and values. Attitude is not key, okay, that person is walking in a different way, he has this attitude. Attitude is like and dislike towards something. So these are some of the barriers which we feel we have while communicating with the other person, what we assume while communicating with the other person. Then comes conflicts. Now, what are conflicts? Conflicts happens when in a relationship there is no communication. Now, conflict is not only physically, that is a separate side, but conflict in our thoughts, conflict in ideas, choices between two individuals. Now, conflict, if the conflict increases, to some extent, it will lead to a stress, anxiety, and unnecessary tension. So, what we feel like, no, we don't want conflicts, and nobody, or like whoever is in this meeting, nobody wants conflicts. Nobody wants. So, how? Now, conflict are of two types: constructive and destructive. If I'm having this fight with the other person, either I'll stop talking to him or her. Okay, I'm not talking to him or her anymore. That is conflict. That is destructive conflict. Constructive conflict, I'm having this conflict with the other person, and we're communicating, and we're coming to a solution, to a conclusion where we both are agreeing with each other. That is what constructive conflict. We're coming to a solution, a common solution, a place where we both are agreeing to each other. Okay, so one thing, like there are so many WhatsApp groups, okay, family groups. So the conflict starts in a humorous way and ends with a big fight between the family members itself. Okay, so we are talking about this political party. Every individual has different opinions about that particular political party. So the conversation started with a humorous way. Ki, okay, this party is not working very good, or this party is good. So there comes the conflict in ideas. That is what conflict is. Now there are some of the ways which we can resolve our conflicts. Acknowledge, okay, you are right at your own point, I am right and at my own point. So we have to acknowledge each other. We don't have to, you're not right. We should acknowledge each other. Then comes listening. That is what active listening is, as you all would be knowing it till now, that what active listening is. Open dialogue. The way we respond to the other person is open dialogue. Compromise is common in a relationship. If there is a relationship, compromise is having its own space. So these are some of the things which we need to do to resolve our own conflicts. Okay, so I don't know, like, do you have any idea? Okay, so I'll ask you the simple question. Okay, so sometimes we feel like we are talking to this other person, and we feel like no, I'm not talking to this person anymore. He's just busy doing his own job. He's not, having attention towards me. Like, how many of you feel like this? Sometimes, no, I'm not talking to on this topic right now to this person. He's not listening to me. Any of you feel like this, or any one of you have experienced this? Okay, so like most of us has experienced these things. I myself have experienced this thing. If the other person is not actively listening to me, I won't be speaking to that person at that point of time for sure. So this is where communication comes to place. So we will be having this small activity. So I'll hand over it to Suyesha ma'am, and she'll have this activity with you all.
All right. I think we're running short of time. So I only want to talk about that, we all have a dominant way of dealing with conflicts, of managing our conflicts. So there are 5 basic and very popular ways of resolving conflicts, and hum log ka sabka, like, according to our personalities, according to the value systems that we follow, the culture we are brought up in, all of these factors, the environment we are in, the context itself, all of these factors come together and make us choose any one or apply any one of these conflict resolution strategies. So, it's an interplay between two factors. How assertive can we be? How assertively do we express ourselves? And how much cooperation do we apply? So it's a mix. It's an interplay of assertiveness and cooperativeness. So there are 5 basic styles that are there that a lot of people use. No one style is the best style because it's very context specific. Each style has its own advantages and disadvantages. So the first style, I don't know how many of you would be able to relate to it, but I want you to think and tell me, whenever you are faced with a conflict, how do you really try to resolve it? How do you do that? What do you find, do you try to find or explore issues with others so as to find solutions that meet everybody's needs? Do you do that? Does somebody do that from the group that we are talking to today? Is there somebody who tries to negotiate and adopt a give and take approach to problem situations or a conflict situation? Is there a give and take? If I bend down a little, I would expect the other person to bend down a little also. If I am suffering a loss, I would expect the other person to suffer an equal loss. Or do you try to meet the expectations of other people? Do you keep their expectations before your own needs and expectations?
Ma'am, I would
Yes.
I would beg to differ with them, but I will never put their expectations before me. I mean,
Yes.
I've got my viewpoints. We are all different people. 5 fingers aren't the same, so we all can't have the same
Right.
view. I would
Yes.
beg to differ, and I would
Yes.
also distance myself from the situation. And there
Okay.
comes a time when everything patches up, everything is okay.
Yes.
I would call myself distancing rather than avoidance.
All right. See, there are different ways. No, ma'am, that's okay. There is advantage to using this strategy also. Now, it's only for us to decide whether, how important is that relationship for us? How important is that person to me? And how much willing am I to, give up on my needs? So I will use my discretion. So there are people based on personality and their experiences, the past experiences that they've had, and their environment and the context in which they are. There are people who come across as being a little intimidating. If I want something, if I want the other person to agree with what I'm saying, by hook or by crook, I will get it done.
Ma'am, I'm a bit intimidating, I'm sorry to say.
It's okay, ma'am. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with that, ma'am. There's no right, wrong here. That's perfectly fine. So, anybody who comes across as being a little more assertive, higher on assertive and less on cooperativeness. Okay. So, we follow a competing style of resolving conflicts. You have that competitive streak in you. So whenever we use this particular strategy to resolve conflicts, it is that one party will win, the other will have to lose. It's a win-lose situation. So one party who has more resources, for example, psychological or otherwise, they may, turn up as a winner in that situation. So you lose up on your relationships, at least for a little while at least. You later may be able to resolve things, but at that given point of time, at the heat of the moment, you emerge out stronger. So, it's like on a humorous note, these are the people who are like a shark, very forceful, very strong. They know what they're doing and they know how to get things done. So that is one style. So it's very high on assertiveness, a little bit towards aggressive behavior also. And of course, because aggression is high, cooperation becomes low. The second important style that we talk about, a lot of people follow this, that, whenever a conflicting situation arises, we withdraw ourselves from the situation. They say, the tortoise we have, So whenever there is something that's bothering us, there's a trigger, we hide in our own shells. We will not talk, we'll go quiet. So it's a lose-lose situation because we are unable to resolve a conflict. So you take whatever you can get and you hide yourself. So it's a lose-lose situation for both the parties because the conflict is not getting resolved. Right? The third important conflict resolution strategy that a lot of people follow, again, it depends on what kind of a conflict you are facing or dealing with. When you are very high on cooperativeness and you become totally submissive, you let the other person decide what has to be done. You're very, very accommodating. You're okay with anything and everything that's
Ma'am,
happening.
it's a yes man situation.
Yes, absolutely. So
Can't be
again, it's a lose-win situation. One person who's being submissive, less aggressive, less assertive would lose, the other person would win. So here what happens is you are able to have good relations with most of the people, but at your own cost.
Yes, that's me.
At your own cost. You lose a lot. You can
On my
save the
own
relationships.
terms.
Yes,
On
yes.
my own terms, ma'am, not at my cost, but on my terms.
Yes, absolutely. You decide to do that because you are giving more importance to your relationships.
Yeah, but on my terms.
Yes, absolutely. And the fourth important style that, again, a lot of people use, it's a collaborative style that we use. It's a win-win situation for both the parties. So we try to come to a creative solution to a problem. It's like wisdom of an owl, where, both the parties, they try to come to a middle path. Nobody wins, nobody loses. So it's a win-win situation for both the parties involved. And last is compromising. It's partial win, partial lose. We try to split the differences. It can be compared to a fox. The fox is a little sly. It's a sly animal. So the amount of loss that I will be incurring on myself and the amount of benefit that I get, it has to be equal to the other person. Equal loss, equal benefit. So that's compromising. So there's partial win, partial loss, and we try to split the differences. So compromising is also one of the strategies. So these are like the most popular strategies that people often use. And that's what I wanted to discuss. If we had more time, I would have made you assess your dominant style. But sorry, the time does not permit us to do that assessment. But I'm sure in the near future, if we get to connect again, I will try my best to incorporate the assessment part as well.
Ma'am, you can't leave it at this stage. I'm seeing myself in a very bad light with all that you're saying. But
Ma'am, I can connect with you personally.
You can't leave this conversation here. We have to have another session.
I will, ma'am, definitely. There are so many other things that we wanted to cover, but because we have limited time, we could not cover everything. And we did this very briefly. But yes, the assessment and that portion we can take up in any other session.
This was an amazing session.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Please continue in the next session. We'll be looking forward to see you next Sunday again. And with the continuation, yes, of course.
Oh,
of course,
lovely.
Suyesha, just continue with the session in next week.
Thank you
very much.
Next Sunday, same time.
Yeah. Be there.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you so much.
And a lot of more should join and understand all these, what you have narrated today. Thank you so much for such a wonderful session. And please continue with us.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye. Bye, everyone. Oh, we're supposed to still connecting.